Hey, what's up, this is Dan or DMath96 here, and welcome to a slightly different video from me on this channel today. And with the F1 Summer break now taking place, this is about the time where we hear the news and rumours about who will be driving for which team next season, and that's what I'm going to cover in today's video. This is my F1 2017 driver lineup predictions. I've seen a lot of these going around on YouTube and on Twitter at the minute, and I'd like to give my own opinion on who I think will be driving for each team next season. So I'll be going through each team from Constructors' Championship order, so we'll start at the top and we'll work our way down to the bottom. And I'm also going to cover some other drivers that I think may have a chance of being in F1 next year, but I have not put them down in my predictions. So without further ado, let's start off with the team currently leading the Constructors' Championship, and that is Mercedes. And there's not much to be said about them really, because Lewis Hamilton we all knew was going to stay anyway, and he already had a contract. And we saw Nico Rosberg sign a contract with Toto Wolff prior to the Hungarian Grand Prix. There was rumours about one driver leaving the team, but I don't know why they would do that. Maybe next year we could see one of them leaving, but I don't know why they would sack them this year, because they've got two good drivers, both capable of winning the World Championship. You can argue with Nico Rosberg about that, but Lewis Hamilton is obviously three-time world champion, set to become a four-time world champion this season. There's no reason to ditch him. Nico Rosberg's also quite consistent as well. I don't see any reason to ditch him. We may see one of them go for 2018, but for 2017, they're both set to stay. So that's been Mercedes, and now it's time to move on to a team that have been improving since the start of the season, and that's Red Bull. And we all know what's gone on with them as well, so this isn't going to take long as well, because Daniel Ricciardo, again, we all knew was staying with the team anyway, and I think he confirmed that recently. And Max Verstappen was pretty much confirmed since he joined the team at the Spanish Grand Prix. And as much as I do feel really sorry for Danny Kvyat, I think it was the right move to bring up Max Verstappen, because we all saw what happened with Kvyat and Toro Rosso now. I can only feel sorry for him really. He has lost all confidence, but we'll get onto him in a minute. As for Max Verstappen, I think he's proved a lot of people wrong, including myself. I never expected him to win in Spain, and he's always been consistent with his points finishes. He's finished second in Austria, he got another second in Great Britain, and then he recently finished on the podium in Germany, sort of proving that his drive in Spain wasn't a fluke. And with Red Bull improving, there's rumours saying that they could be quicker than Mercedes next year, the Renault engine slowly getting better. But obviously we don't know that until 2017 actually comes along. But if that is the case, this lineup of Ricciardo and Verstappen will be a very strong lineup to challenge for both titles next year. So we have two teams keeping the same lineup for next season already, and it's no difference with the next team, that is Ferrari. Their current lineup, of course, is Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Räikkönen this year. They are retaining that for 2017. A lot of people thought that Räikkönen would be retiring this year, including myself, but at the same time, he has done a pretty good job this year, better than I expected, like Max Verstappen, and he is currently beating Vettel in the Drivers' Championship, so maybe Ferrari are actually right keeping him on here. I do think Ferrari are slowly going downhill. Well, it's showing really the Red Bull have managed to overtake him in pace. Hopefully we can see Ferrari bounce back in 2017. I doubt it though. But they still have a strong lineup in Kimi Räikkönen, and still have Sebastian Vettel as well. I think 2017 could be the last season for one of the drivers, if not both, because there's rumours saying Sebastian Vettel wants to leave the team ever since James Allison leaving, and Kimi Räikkönen, we don't really know about him. Last year could be his last year in F1. I'm not sure about Sebastian Vettel, it's a confusing one in the minutes, but I would love to see him in a Mercedes in place of Nico Rosberg soon, because he's a much better driver, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. But Ferrari next year, they're set to retain the two drivers that they currently have this year. So it's been quite boring so far. I've had three teams that have confirmed their lineup already, and it's the same as this year's. But now it gets a bit interesting. We're going to be moving on to Williams, sitting fourth in the Constructors' Championship in a minute. And it's an interesting one, because Valtteri Bottas has been outpacing Felipe Massa this season, and he has done since he joined the team in 2014. I see Valtteri Bottas staying next year. I don't think Williams have a problem with him. I do think that Williams are slowly going downhill, because in recent races we've seen Force India slowly upping the pace, and even McLaren as well. So they'll be ones to watch out for next year. And I'm not sure about them. I was talking to Alex, Hull City fan, and Matt Stopmac 1998 a few days ago, two fellow obscure lads, and we all agreed that Williams could potentially return to their pace that they had in 2011 and 2013, which was absolutely nowhere very soon. Maybe could happen next year. It would be a shame if that happened, of course. But as for the drivers, I do see Valtteri Bottas sticking around with Williams for another year. I don't see why they should ditch him, but I think this is going to be Massa's last year in Formula 1. Unfortunately, he is a very popular driver, but I think Massa's time in Formula 1 is pretty much up after this season. As for his replacements, Jenson Button is obviously the key one here, but two other drivers that you should not rule out completely are Alex Lynn from GP2. Obviously, he's the Williams current reserve driver right now. He's doing alright in GP2. I just don't really see him getting an F1 drive as of yet. I believe he has confirmed that this will be his last season in GP2, but I think we may see him in something like Formula E next season instead of Formula 1. Another driver that has been talked about quite recently for the Williams seat, I've heard, is Lance Stroll from the Formula 3 series. He's currently dominating that series, the same series that Max Verstappen competed in 2014 before he joined Formula 1. He is currently a Williams test driver. I think it's likely that Lance Stroll could be in a Williams seat next year, but as much as I rate Lance Stroll, I think Jenson Button is going to get the Williams seat. This rumour's been talked about for quite some time now, and I think it's a good way for Jenson to end off his F1 career. I do believe next year will be his last season, and what a way to end off his brilliant F1 career with the team that he started with. So next up is Force India, a team that's slowly improving each year, and personally I don't see what's wrong with their driver lineup. Sergio Pérez was obviously linked to Ferrari seat before Kimi Räikkönen was confirmed. Nico Hülkenberg's also been quick, and both drivers have been impressive seasons as well. Sergio Pérez scoring 2 podiums. Nico Hülkenberg has been a little bit inconsistent, but he's also been unlucky at the same time as well, and I don't see why they should sack him. There is rumours about Sergio Pérez maybe joining teams like Williams and Renault, I've heard. Why? I don't understand. But if that happens, obviously you've got Pascal Wehrlein that can move to Force India after one season in Manor. But personally, I think there's nothing wrong with the Force India line that they have now, and they've both been good, producing good results. Of course, with Perez as well, scoring 2 podiums. Hülkenberg's also been consistently in points in the last few races, and I see nothing wrong with that drive line at Force India. And if the car improves, we could see them getting a lot more consistently with the podium finishes next season, I think. So we're nearly halfway through the grid now, and we're going to be moving on to Toro Rosso, the team's currently sitting 6th in the championship. I do believe Carlos Sainz has recently confirmed that he will be staying in Toro Rosso next year. A good decision. Sainz is one of the most underrated drivers on the grid. He does deserve a drive in the better team. Maybe in Red Bull we could see that happen, but I doubt it. I think Ricciardo and Verstappen is going to be in that team for many years to come. But Carlos Sainz, he has proved himself this year. He's always been consistently in the points. A little bit overshadowed by Verstappen at the start of the season, but ever since Kvyat's come into the team, he's always been consistently beating him since he joined the Spanish Grand Prix. As for Danny Kvyat, unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be in F1 next year. I personally think that Max Verstappen coming to replace Danny Kvyat at the Spanish Grand Prix had already confirmed that he will not be in F1 next year, yet alone in Toro Rosso. And it's a shame, really. He's lost all of his confidence, and we saw him at the in his interview after the qualifying at the German Grand Prix. He looked completely devastated, and I feel really, really sorry for him. And as much as I thought Helmut Marko was quite harsh on Kvyat, dropping him from Red Bull after the Spanish Grand Prix, it seemed to be the right decision, because Verstappen's been consistently doing well in his new team, and Kvyat can't even beat Carlos Sainz, which Verstappen was beating in Toro Rosso. It's a shame, really, because Kvyat, he's a good guy, he's a good driver, and it doesn't look like he'll be in F1 next year. As for his replacement, it's obviously going to be someone from Red Bull's driver academy, and well, the only person that I think is ready for it is Pierre Gasly, the joint leader of the GP2 Championship, second on countback of race results. And he has proven to be fast in GP2. This is only his second full season, I do believe, and he's doing a very good job. He's recently just picked up 2 feature race victories, and he's been testing the Red Bull as well in the Silverstone test as well. And I think they're building up Gasly for a race seat in Toro Rosso next season. And Sainz and Gasly will be something that I want to see next year. A very, very strong lineup, 2 very fast drivers. I think that could be very interesting for 2017. Next up is McLaren, another team like Force India that are slowly improving. We saw the pace, of course, in Austria in the changeable conditions. Jenson Button qualifying 5th, eventually became 3rd. And since then they have been consistently in the points a lot more than they have done last season. And as for their drivers, Fernando Alonso, I'm certain is going to be driving again next year. I think he's confirmed. If not, I'm pretty sure he will be driving next year. Probably will be his last season in Formula 1. And as for his teammate, if Jenson Button's on his way to Williams, that pretty much leaves the door open for Stoffel Van Dorn, last year's GP2 champion. Absolutely dominated last year. He's currently getting some experience in the Super Formula Series. And of course he did the Bahrain Grand Prix in replace of Fernando Alonso, and he did score a point. So please, for the love of God, put Stoffel Van Dorn in that second McLaren seat, because he is an excellent driver and has a brilliant future in Formula 1. I can see him winning quite a few races, I think. 4 more teams left now, and the next team is the new team Formula 1, who will be entering their second season in 2017, and that is Haas. Obviously, they have a close connection with Ferrari, and Romain Grosjean, of course, has done an excellent job this year with 2 strong top 6 finishes in the first 2 races. But Haas has recently been outside the points in a few races afterwards, but Grosjean, on his day, can score points for the team. And I'm certain he's going to be staying next year. And I think his teammate is going to be the man currently partnering right now in Esteban Gutiérrez. He brings in money. He is a Ferrari reserve driver, so it makes sense. I do think Johnny McVerne should get the seat over him, because I think he's the better Ferrari test driver. But I believe he still has commitments in Formula E. 2 other drivers that I think shouldn't be overlooked are Alexander Rossi, the American, of course, competing in Indy cars, of course, won the Indy 500. And how good it would be for Haas to get an American driver. We also saw Rossi in the manner. He did well, and I personally think he should be in F1 again next year. I don't think it's going to happen though. And the other guy who is being talked about a lot as well is Charles Leclerc from GP3, currently leading the GP3 Championship. At the minute, if he wins the GP3 Championship, which is looking very likely, he will have enough points on his super license to be eligible for that Haas drive. But personally, I think he is a little bit too young, and I think a little bit more experience is needed in a series like GP2 before he is ready to drive for Haas in Formula 1, potentially for 2018. But I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of him in the practice sessions next year. So as for Haas, I think it's going to be an unchanged lineup. So now we're going into the final 3 teams, and by far these ones were the hardest to make a decision on. So we're going to be starting off with Renault, and this is a very interesting situation for Renault because Kevin Magnussen and Jolyon Palmer, neither driver I think has been particularly impressive, mostly on Jolyon Palmer. I personally think he's going next year. Kevin Magnussen's been alright, he has scored points for the team, but at the same time he's slowly been on Palmer's pace. But if they were to keep one driver, I think it will be Kevin Magnussen. He does bring in some money as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if Renault keep him next year. As for his replacements, this is going to be quite a controversial one I think, because I've not seen much mention of this guy. But I do think it's going to be Sergei Sorokin, the current GP2 Championship leader, on the positions count back, of course, tied with Pierre Gasly at the top. He's had a struggle in his first half of GP2 season, but he's brought it back and he's gone from 8th in the championship to the top in about 2 rounds, I do believe, which is amazing. And if there's one driver in GP2 apart from Pierre Gasly that deserves an F1 driver, it is Sergei Sorokin. He's obviously been testing in Renault in the Silverstone tests, and I think he's ready for that F1 drive. We all remember him in 2013, he was rumoured to that Sauber seat. No one thought he was ready enough to get the seat. He almost got it, but with experience in the GP2 series, finished third last year, and is looking like one of the two favourites to take it this year. I think he's ready for that F1 seat. Another driver that I want to quickly talk about is Esteban Ocon, who seems to be the favourite for many to get that seat, obviously being a French Renault test driver. He was a GP3 champion last year, and he also won the Formula 3 title in 2014. He's currently competing in DTM. This is a very interesting one because I wouldn't mind if we saw him in F1 next year. The team obviously have faith in him. They're giving him Friday practice runs, but I'd maybe give him another year of DTM first. I think he definitely has the experience. He's won 2 titles in 2 lower series, and he is ready. But personally, I feel that Sorokin is most likely to get the drive instead of Ocon next year. It's a bit of an interesting one. I can't really decide between 2 of them, but I personally think that Sorokin is going to partner Kevin Magnussen at Renault next year. Also, quickly to add, I don't think Renault would want to go with 2 rookie drivers next year, so I think it would be a better choice to have Kevin Magnussen, an experienced driver, partner a new rookie in Sergei Sorokin, and personally, like I said earlier, I would rather Sorokin than Ocon in the second Renault seat next year. Now we move on to Manor. Again, another interesting one because Pascal Wehrlein, I think we can say really he is going to be staying in F1. Of course, for Manor, Mercedes young driver has proven himself. He has scored a point in the Austrian Grand Prix, and they shouldn't ditch him. A brilliant young talent, deserves to stay for another year. And again, his teammate is another interesting one because Rio Haryanto has been struggling with financial issues over the last couple of weeks. There's a lot of rumours that he'll be replaced for the Belgian Grand Prix, and I think that's going to happen. I don't know who it will be with, but next year I think that their development driver Jordan King, if he continues to be consistent, will get the Manor second drive alongside Pascal Wehrlein, and it will be good to see. He brings in money as well. I believe his dad is the former CEO of Sainsbury's, and he's been impressive in GP2. He's another guy who is slowly improving. His first year of GP2 didn't go so well. I think he's currently in the top 8 in the championship. He picked up 2 sprint race victories so far this season, and I would like to see another British driver in Formula 1 next year, and I think Jordan King is going to be that guy. So now I've only got one more team left, and that is Sauber. By far the hardest team to predict for drive lineup for. And obviously we know they've recently just acquired new sponsorships. They've just been taken over, and this took me a while to think of who will be driving for them. I was thinking of maybe a GP2 driver like Antonio Giovinazzi, who's in his first season, but now I'm thinking, as much as he brings in a lot of money, well, he would bring a lot of money, I think that he would probably be given another year. I was thinking maybe putting an experienced driver like Danny Kvyat, but I think this year will be the last of it for him in Formula 1. So in the end, I've just decided to keep the current lineup that they have got, Marcus Ericsson and Felipe Massa. I don't think either of them have done a particularly good job this year, but I'm just going to play it safe, and I'm going to keep Ericsson and Massa in the Sauber seat for 2017. So that has been my F1 2017 drive lineup predictions. If you've enjoyed it, please leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Comment down below your predictions for the drive lineup next season. I would be interested in checking them out. Till next time, guys, it's been DMath96. I'll catch you guys later.
You put apart, so I divide, and I know there's something between us with nothing inside, nothing at all. You put apart, so I divide, and I know there's something between us with nothing inside, nothing at all.